are useful for their purpose, but they are no substitute for brains.
All right, here we go.
I have to say, well done. Great. Well done. Well played, my adversary. Well played.
Phoenix isn't gay, but if he was, he'd pick Fremont.
Oh, yeah, he'd be living down there with you in the bunker, man. Woo!
Once you go free, you always do the Z.
Like one day I'm not going to Duncan, and you could get a controller, a new Xbox, possibly even a cord.
And now the group that can't count its nuts and come up with the same number twice.
Welcome to BGFG, episode 469. I'm your host, Chris Phoenix, and joining me, as always, my brother from another mother, Mr. Fremo Z. How are you doing this week, sir?
I'm doing quite well, thank you.
I noticed the shirt this week.
Oh, yeah. Rocking the SpongeBob.
SpongeBob SquarePants and Patrick.
Yeah.
Nice
Yeah,
job.
grandson picked it out, so.
Oh, that's cool.
And the wife's like, "You won't wear pink." And then, of course, I'm wearing it. She's like, "Oh, you look good in pink." I said, "Yeah, well, I don't. That's why I normally don't wear it. I get tired of beating the ladies off." I thought she was going to die laughing.
That's good. Oh.
Like, I got the horse laugh out of her, though.
I actually spent my weekend thus far at Comic-Con. Here in the Northeast, Comic-Con is usually in November. We go on the first night, Friday night, to kind of scope out everything, the celebrities, see what we want to do, see what money we want to spend. This is mine and the wife's Christmas for each other. So that's what we go and do. And then Saturday we go back and we kind of do all the things we want to do. Because most of the celebrities, if they're not there on Friday, they will definitely be there on Saturday. And some of the celebrities, like a couple of them that we wanted to see, had like late planes, or they just got in late, so they couldn't be there on Friday evening. And we went back Saturday, and then Sunday, if we choose to, we either go back, take some of the kids, let other people use our VIP passes, or we dress up. A couple of years back, maybe 6 years ago or 7 years, we'll dress up to go. And that is something that we do. That's our little holiday for us. And I'll tell you, the first night I did I did 7,000 steps, and I burned something like 1,200 calories, 1,300 calories. Didn't really eat anything there because there's nothing to eat. That's, other than frozen ass pizza. And on the way home, we split a foot long sub because neither of us were hungry and we were just tired. So we wanted to get home and get rested. Saturday we wake up, my legs are sore AF. Oh my gosh, my knees and hips were killing me. Yeah, literally. Because this is the first Comic-Con we went back to since pre-COVID. Just because the years that they were open, there wasn't anything to see. There wasn't really anybody going. So this is the first year we kind of really went back. We go Saturday after a bunch of family stuff. We go Saturday, and it's a madhouse. Like, it's shoulder to shoulder. It's brutal. I'm already in pain and sore, but we go. I end up doing like 4,000 or 5,000 steps, and burned like 900 to 1,000 calories, something like that. Again, came home. We ordered a pizza on the way home, picked it up. I had 2 pieces. She had 1. And then we were like out cold.
Yeah.
And we watched the wrestling pay-per-view that we wanted to. We watched it late, and we were out cold, and, had a great sleep. Woke up today and I feel good, not great, but better. And it was just funny because I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was making a coffee this morning. Like, let me get on the scale. Because the wife and I bought a new scale a couple of weeks back that does like your BMI and your weight and all that. It's got an app. I get on it, and somehow I have gained a pound. I'm like, how is
Water
this
weight.
possible?
What water weight?
That's what she said. I'm like, water from where?
Yeah,
I mean,
your
yeah,
body
I've been
went in
drinking water. And
sucking water in from the atmosphere.
there's no doubt that my body went into shock. What are you doing exercising again? Like,
the meteorologist is like Saturday evening is like mid report, and he's like, and In weird news, we have quite a dry spell going on. We can't explain this. All the moisture in the atmosphere has been dissipated.
It's been sucked in. That fat bastard. Uh, but it was just funny the way that all that happened, and I was just like, you know what, that's just messed up. But I will say that it was
Oh
nice.
no,
It was
what it is.
is
Muscle weighs more than fat.
okay.
You built a bunch of muscle in that day and a half, all that walking, and lost some fat, right?
It's possible, yeah.
But the
Up in
net,
those steps.
the net positive or the net negative in your case is that you weighed a pound more.
Yeah, yeah. It wouldn't surprise me. Like it was. The wife asked me even this morning over coffee. The wife asked, she's like, "Well, how are you feeling today? You feeling better?" I'm like, "I'm feeling like I had a good workout, like way back in the day when I was in martial arts and had my own karate school. So it felt good, and I'm looking forward to doing more of that type of. I feel like I got over a hump, which is nice. Anyway,
We get you down here. We'll get you walking to Big Hill with the boys
oh hell no,
several
we ain't
times a
talking
day.
hills. Ah, all right. So one of the things that we do on the show is we have a segment occasionally we call Not Coming Down for Breakfast. And of course, that is celebrities that have passed away. Unfortunately, we lost one. Not coming down for breakfast this week is Teri Garr. Unfortunately, 79 years young. She passed away from complications from multiple sclerosis. Now, you might know Terry from Tootsie, Close Encounters. Mr. Mom was a classic.
Yeah,
But
Young Frankenstein.
Young Frankenstein's where it's at for her. I
Yeah.
mean, she did stage and screen, but Young Frankenstein, I mean, just nailed it.
Yeah.
It's sorry to see her go, but it's nice that she's not in pain from that scoliosis anymore. So golden ticket and towel to you, young lady. May you rest in peace and may your family find peace. So, yeah. All right. Let's get on to this week's news because there is a lot in the show this week.
BGFG News. You heard it here third.
You are literally already grinning. Why are you grinning?
Oh, you said there's a lot of news, but how much of it's worthy?
That's subjective. First up, Moneygram was compromised. And again, we talk a lot about being compromised and stuff. New listeners on the show will realize quickly that the first segment lately has been nothing but compromise, mostly because we're trying to bring the point to you that this is something that goes on continuously. Like this is not, as long as you're diligent in how you handle your online business or businesses, transactions and things, you'll be fine. But remember, this shit's going on all the time. So Moneygram, for those who don't know, Moneygram is a money transfer giant, kind of like Cash App. About a month ago, they got breached and hackers got personal information and transactions histories. Today, we learned that Alex Holmes, who started with Moneygram in 2009 as a chief financial officer, then chief operating officer, then CEO in 2016. Out of the blue, he will be replaced effective immediately by Anthony Soho. Now, the reason why I brought this up is not just because of Moneygram being compromised, because again, it's Moneygram. How many users do they have? And there's no real disclosure as to what exactly was compromised outside of transactions and information. They didn't say anything about bank accounts or anything else like that. But what I thought was funny is usually the scapegoat, if you even hear about it, is somebody in the IT department. Like, let me tell you something. When this shit happens, even if it's a social engineering thing, Freebo and I will tell you, even if it's a social engineering thing, like Betty in accounting answered an email and clicked on it, our asses are still on the line for some ungodly reason.
Yeah.
So it's always our fault. And the fact that the
Why
CEO,
did she get that email? Really?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because she's handing out her.
I mean, we can fix that, but you're not going to like it. I don't know how many times we've gone through that where we're like, someone panics and they're like, well, just shut everything down. Okay, that's not a problem. Click. There. Issue
Done.
solved.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not getting emails from my country club membership. No, you're not.
No, you are not, sir. So it's rare to see a CEO get dropped like this. And it was
Yeah,
effective
I think it's
immediately.
funny. I think it's funny that they said that this was something that's been in the work for months. It has nothing to
Oh,
do with
yeah.
the breach. Okay.
Yeah, this announcement is not related to the recent cyber issue. Really? The leadership transition is the result of months-long process of the board of directors. Really?
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
look,
can we see those notes of the board meeting where this was initiated from months ago? Can we see that, please?
yeah, yeah. Look, it's about to be 2025, people. We understand these type of
Or
breaches are
as the
happening.
kids say today, can you show me the receipts?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have
Uh,
the receipts?
we understand that these type of breaches happen, and we know that someone needs to, be a scapegoat. But like Fremo and I were saying, don't lie to us. You lost
Yeah.
client data. Your system was down for a friggin' week. That's lost profit. When are these companies and corporations going to stand up and take a look at how their systems are and tighten them up? Oh, yeah, because of greed.
Yeah.
Because Fremont and I can sit here and tell you, this is how you tighten it. If you want it really tight, this is how you tighten it up. No external emails come into the building at all, period, ever. That's the first thing you do. Second thing is, as much as it's annoying, you rotate your passwords every 2 months, 3 months tops. It is annoying, but rotate them. And the amount of greed. And did I tell you that Holmes was making $6.7 million in compensation? Like, he's got a golden parachute, so he's not even caring.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty shitty.
And he's going to be a consultant to the board.
Yeah, of course he is.
He's going to get paid for that as well.
Bullshit.
It's crazy.
That's what
how
I
these
want to do. I just want to
corporations-
be. I want to be a consultant to like 3 or 4 different boards.
Well, that's what Apple does. So this is, you have to say again, brilliant strategy business-wise from Apple. What Apple does is when they have a really high executive that's just like done, like they're like, hey, I want to step out. They'll always say like, you can do your own thing, and you'll be. Oh my God, I can't remember the name they call them. You'll be a fellow with our company, which means they still can keep a tab on you.
A pal.
Yeah, they're still going to keep a tab on you. Like, if you're going to go start another company, that's great. Just don't tread on our shit, okay? And they kind of keep you on the board of directors. They keep you there. They did it with a bunch of people. Johnny Ive was the most popular, or the most common. Yeah, because in the will or the last edict from Steve Jobs, he said that Johnny Ive can never be fired. Johnny Ive can only leave if he wants to leave. And then he got one of those fellowship things where dude didn't even have to go into work. He like showed up once a month to just go, that's a good looking project.
Yeah.
This is the finest thing I have ever seen. Like, just complete and random bullshit. Now, on to news that Fremo, speaking of Apple, is definitely going to not be happy about or fall asleep to. Apple is not the world's most valuable company anymore.
No,
which
they
I
are
did not see coming. Yeah. NVIDIA just took over Apple. Their stock price went up to $3.53 trillion, slightly above Apple's $3.52 trillion. So it's not a lot, but when you think about it, it's like, oh, dude, that's one digit. That's $0.01 trillion. That's what, $1 billion? Like, that's a lot of money.
Well, see, a trillion is 1,000 billions, right?
Uh-huh.
So that 0.01 trillion difference is still like a substantial amount of money.
Yeah, 700. I don't even. But
it's like half of like 500 billion or something.
Yeah. Nothing
50 billion.
Yeah.
I don't know.
NVIDIA is long known in the gaming sphere as the makers of GPUs that gamers love. Value has soared within the past year, though, because of the demand for AI. And more to the point, the chips in the architecture that have AI. And NVIDIA was smart to pivot all their AI using their chips. So gaming is not what it once was. Cloud gaming is taking over, and people simply can't afford high-end gaming rigs anymore. Like, you got some of these cards going for like $2,000-$3,000.
Yeah.
And people just can't afford that. So they pivoted. Good good strategy as a business. Pivot to AI. And they are single-handedly just, with the injection of AI into business strategies, NVIDIA had 82% revenue growth. 82% just in AI. And I don't need to go on with how crazy AI is lately. Like we don't, here in the show, we are not supporting AI at this time. Machine learning's fine. AI is scary. And I had to explain to my daughter yesterday because she was
In
talking
some
about
unrelated news, NVIDIA has quietly changed their corporation name to Skynet.
That's great. But I had to explain to my daughter, she's like, "Oh, I used AI." And I was like, "You do realize AI is gleaned from Twitter and Facebook? Like ChatGPT is that those are the two major things that built the foundation of that." And she just looked at me blank like, "Oh shit." I'm like, "Yeah. Yeah, all that stuff that you scroll past and shit, ChatGPT is using that for information." But I really don't think Apple is really too worried about this because Apple just reported their quarter 4 results, and they had get this, free. They had a revenue of $94.9 billion and a quarterly profit of $14.7 billion. And that was with paying a one-time tax fine to the EU of $10.2 billion. Just people, listeners, wrap your head around that. They just paid a fine of $10.2 billion and still made $14.7 billion in profit. That is crazy numbers. Crazy numbers. And most of that Apple profit is from their iPhones, and rightfully so, because they are the number 1 or number 2, depending on the time of the year, phone maker.
Thank you, fanboys.
That's just, what the fuck you mean? Thank you, fanboys.
That's coming from Apple.
No, fine. I'll give you that one. I will give you that one.
They
Because
should send everybody with an Apple product an extra Apple sticker this year.
Yeah, because they're super rare now. You don't get them no more. I will tell you that as the fanboy comment, I will say that like I had an iPhone 14 Pro Max, loved the phone, thought it was great. At my job, I have to deal with a lot of iPhone products. 15 was absolutely garbage. Like the 15 that they touted out was so bad. Like there's a lot of internal problems on them. They're not good phones. Then they come out with the 16, and unbeknownst to me, my phone shuts off. We talked about this on another show. My phone shuts off one day at work. Turns out my wife upgraded our plan and got all new phones. I am not super happy with the 16. The 14 was better in my opinion. But you know, again,
Well,
the company.
see, the problem with that is Apple has started getting on the same train as everybody else, and that is, even if it's a minor upgrade, make a big hoopla out about it and release a new version.
Oh, the classic, even though Johnny Ive isn't there anymore, the classic Johnny Ive, this iPhone is better than we've ever done. Well, it fucking better be. Because I got a 2-year-old.
But they're not. They're caught up in this. Okay, we've got to release a new iPhone once a year, twice a year now.
Oh yeah, they're already talking about the iPhone 17.
And they used to,
wait.
They used to be Apple, not Microsoft.
That's well put.
But they're acting like Microsoft these days.
Yeah.
With let's just release a new version, a new upgrade, a new let's just get it out there. And it's not vetted, it's not tested, it's not built the way Apple used to build it.
100% right.
Hey, who am I to criticize? They just made a profit of $14 billion.
Yeah, exactly. We are
in 3 months.
Yeah. We are definitely missing something. We are not good at that. And the funny thing happened to Apple too. Several years ago, there was a conversation from Apple to a company named Massimo. Some people might remember the story. We covered it quickly. Massimo claimed that Apple infringed on their Pulse Ox technology on their watches. And I remember where I work, they had to pull all the watches temporarily. It was like 3 days, but they had to pull them while they kind of went through the litigation process. This made Apple drop blood oxygen reading on all of their watches. To this day, it's not on them. Now the court case was for what Massimo calls a discontinued model, which the court decided that Massimo did infringe on the patent. So this is an older product that Massimo did. Apple took them to court. They did infringe on Apple's patent. Therefore, they ordered Massimo. They ordered Massimo to pay $250. No billion, no trillion. $250.
Not even thousands.
Nope.
Just $250.
Just 250, which God only knows that the lawyer that was sitting there goes, "Hey, Judge, can I go downstairs and just pay this now? I got it in my pocket. I'm just going to do Apple a solid." The Pulse Ox trial is still going on. This was just for a previous patent on a design that Massimo isn't even using anymore. But the design and the charging patent is now over, which is what that was for. And finally, wrapping up this week in news is a personal favorite of mine.
You think Apple did that kind of as a, hey, look, we just scratched your back. No, why don't you scratch ours over here?
I don't know because the original patent trial for the sensor and stuff, I mean, that was not the big chunk that it was. Like, that was just like, hey, by the way, just want to let you know that sensor we already patented. The bigger one is the Pulse Ox, because Massimo's not letting that go. They developed that technology to read your pulse and oxygen.
Yeah.
And they're not going to let that go.
I get that, but they could have gone for a lot more than $250. In this trial. That's what I'm saying. Do you think that they basically said, look, Massimo, we just got proven right. We're not going to drop the hammer on you. Just pay the minimum and we'll move on from this. And then how about y'all help us out a little bit over here with this one?
I can't agree with you on that. I can't, because I think that they were just like, this is the small potatoes. We're going after the big potatoes. That's what I think. I think they don't care about.
But Apple's on the wrong side of that other lawsuit,
right? But they have a fleet of lawyers. They're gonna figure that shit out real quick. You know what I mean?
Well, it's been going on for a minute.
That's true.
Anyway,
wrapping up this week, we have a wonderful story about Putin, as usual. Because how can you not have fun with Putin? Google is in big trouble, Free. Big trouble with Russia. Huge.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can break it down a little bit for our listeners. So the Patriot Media Group, which was headed by anti-military and rebellion leader, and I'm going to torture this one, Yevgeny Prigozhin. I'm going to give Fremo a second because he's usually better at this than I am.
I'm trying to find it.
Yevgeny Prigozhin. He was this head of this anti-military and rebellion leader or group.
Why is it not in the story? It's not in the link you sent me.
It's not. It should have been.
The name isn't.
Yeah. So this guy, Free, this guy died in a mysterious midair collision last year.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. So.
Okay, give it a whirl.
Former Wagner Group leader. Ooh, that's a good one.
Go ahead. I'll wait.
Yevgeny Prigozhin.
Yes. So he mysteriously.
You got to throw that anger into it. It's a Russian name.
So Free.
Prigozhin.
He mysteriously died in a midair collision last year.
Yeah.
Go figure. Surprising. And that was after he got Google to pull the pro-Kremlin propaganda channels off of YouTube. Wow, what a mystery. But this was also 4 years ago. Now, Russia issued a fine of 100,000 rubles, which doubled every week until it was paid. Google had pulled out. So right now, after 4 years, the fine is somewhere around, and hear me out on this, $2.5 decillion. Or rubles. No, it's decillion dollars. That's 33 zeros, if you were wondering. Now, Google has no intention to pay that. Not because they don't pay fines, but because when Russia invaded Ukraine, Google stopped advertising in Russia and essentially pulled out, leaving their Russian subsidiary to claim bankruptcy. Like, they completely pulled out of Russia when they did that. So Google's kind of like giving them the finger, like, yeah, you can say we owe you money. But the fact that Russia turned around and said, yeah, it's up to, $2.5 decillion dollars. I didn't even know that number existed.
Let's see. So that's hundreds, thousands, millions, billions, trillions. Okay, so that's trillions, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more increments of numbers above trillion, and then you get to decillion. That is a big. That is a big.
That is a big number.
number.
That is huge.
That might be bigger than a Googleplex.
Oh, it might be. All right, so that's it for this week's news, which was great. Now, it's our
It's
time.
definitely bigger than a Google bank account.
Barely. So this week's music was actually picked by Freemo. And I was pleasantly surprised with this, like 100%. Really good. This is a one-man band, kind of like Cam Cole that we played on the show before.
Yeah.
This is off of his 2016 album called Spirit's Furnace. And the name of him or his band, whatever you want to call it, is called The Bones of J.R. Jones.
Yep.
And this song's called
I've been going through his discography, and obviously he's an artist doing this for himself. So some of the stuff is you listen to it and you're like, but he's got some definite good music going on.
Yeah, definitely some soul. It's just foot stomping music. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's very similar to Cam Cole. It's got that vibe to it where if you saw him buskering on the street, you definitely throw him like a fin right in there. So this one is The Bones of J.R. Jones. This song is called The Heat. And we're going to catch you on the other side for a whole lot of stick style news, which is going to be entertaining. Here it is. Not too long of a song, about 3 minutes. So we'll catch you on the other side. Good stuff. Good stuff. I like it a lot. So that, again, The Bones of J.R. Jones. Check him out. Spirit's Furnace. I like that album. Like, I listened to a couple of albums. Spirit's Furnace is really, really good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's probably out of the ones I've listened to, that's probably the one that I like the most overall. But he's got a
Yeah.
couple other songs, man, that just really like the Hammer and Nails one. Did you listen to that?
No, not yet.
The lyrics on that one are deep, man.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking at that. All right, so this week, first up is what are we drinking? Oh, I heard the pop. Oh, the classic Miller Lite, and I went with my Modelo Negro, the last one I got. So
Yeah,
cheers to you.
I gotta finish off this supply before I buy something else. So
Right. Cheers.
cheers.
Whew. That's good stuff.
Or as my Polish friends say, Nostrovia.
Sure. Let's get into this week's stick style, and this should be good.
Gaming.
All right, so first up, we got November games, and of course, first up is PlayStation Plus. And I gotta say,
And moving on to Xbox.
no, honestly, this week I gotta say, or this month I gotta say, not too bad. Ghostwire Tokyo, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2, Turbocharged, and Death No Killer. So Ghostwire and Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 are good choices. Not too
Yeah.
bad. Again, only 3 games, so it's kind of like, what the fuck? Come on, Sony, come on. But it's a start. Not that bad. Not that bad, Sony. But Game Pass for November, different. So what they did this month was you get StarCraft Remastered, StarCraft 2, Goat Simulator Remastered, and Flight Simulator 2024. The Flight Simulator, well, Stalker 2 and 9 Souls, but Flight Simulator for free. Again, it's a Microsoft title, but that's a powerful, powerful game
Well,
if you're
look at
into
what they
flight
did.
sims.
Look at what they did this month.
What?
Freaking Black Ops 6, Call
Oh,
of Duty
right.
on Game Pass.
Right,
I
for
mean,
free.
are you kidding me?
Right. It's Game Pass is where to go. If you're not a Steam person, if you're a console person, as much as I love my PlayStation, you got to get better games on Game Pass. You just are. There's just so many. So, tip of the hat to Sony, though, for having a decent release this month. Not too bad. Speaking of Sony, one forward-thinking player had a great idea, and I love this. This guy bought 24 years of PlayStation Plus. 24 years of PlayStation Plus because of the price increases year to year. Like, for instance, last year, the price went from $60 up to $80.
Yeah.
So what he did is they staked the subscriptions until 2048. Sony does offer a discount when you buy multiple years. In fact, because of the loophole, buying 24 years of PlayStation Plus Essential, the premium upgrade was reduced by 89%. Good job, my friend.
I mean, that's a brilliant idea as long as there's not another loophole that,
Oh, yeah.
They can turn around and ding him for the price difference later.
You hope not, because it's a
Or
brilliant
there's
idea.
no refunds if we shut this thing down in 2 years.
Oh, gosh. That's not out of the realm of possibility with the way this company's going. In other PlayStation news, just to let you know, we talked about Concord before. Concord's not coming back, ever. There was hope. There was hope for a minute. After 14 days of being out, and with such bad reviews, Concord was shut down on September 6th. At that time, the devs said that they're going to explore other options, which gave you hope. Not anymore. In continuing theme that Sony has no friggin' clue as to what they're doing in the gaming space, they not only put a permanent end to the game, but they also shut down Firewalk Studio. Like, just shut them down. Thanks for coming, guys. Here's your severance package. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
granted,
hopefully there was at least a severance package.
Now, granted, there was only 660 consecutive people playing at any given time on the game. But, I mean, come on. You have to give it a little bit longer than 14 days. Then you turn around and just completely shut down the game and the studio? Like, that's just not good business, Sony. That's just not good business. It's a little dramatic. And again, it supports our claim here on the show that Sony has no idea what they're doing in the gaming space. None.
Yeah.
Now, there's been other flops, though, Frey, in the gaming community. Like the day before, was an extraction shooter in development for over 3 years, shut down in just 4 days.
Yeah.
Crucible was an Amazon game that didn't really know if it was an Overwatch type game or a battle royal. They sunk millions into it, and it lasted about 5 months. You got Lawbreakers. Now, here's one for us, Free. You got Lawbreakers, an arena shooter made by the returning Cliff Bleszinski. And
Yeah.
if you don't know who he is, he's the one that gave us Gears of War. It was just released at a bad time. It was around for a year, but that time it was just all about bubbly characters and interactions and less about
Yeah,
gritty shooters.
it was a good game. It was a good
Right.
game. And it's unfortunate. It's just one of those things where it's just bad timing.
Yeah.
Bad timing. If it got released today, I guarantee you it would do better.
Yeah, I would agree. Because Overwatch is kind of outlived its usefulness. The bubbly thing is kind of doing away with now. Another one's Babylon's Fall, and after a year it ended. It just fell on its face. Anthem, BioWare's attempt at a Destiny game. Another one, like an artifact
that was garbage.
It's still playable, but there's just no development left.
Yeah, I mean it just even the game itself.
Yeah.
It you could see BioWare's thumbprint on the game as far
Yeah,
as the
yeah.
aesthetics, the way it looked and stuff, but they really should never have tried to transition from RPG to
No.
multiplayer FPS. It did not work.
As we've said in Stick Style before, stay in your lane. It's okay to experiment, but stay in your lane. You know, if Treyarch comes out with a racing game, we're not buying it. I'll try it, but I'm not buying it.
Yeah, I might let that one sit around for a while and percolate before I decide to jump into it. And,
If turn
like,
10
really,
if-
it turned good.
if
All right.
if turn 10 comes out with a battle royale, I'm passing by.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
stay in your lane. But speaking of staying in your lane, let's end on a good note because this
Now,
one
here's
made me.
one. Here's one.
Yeah.
Not that they're around anymore.
Yeah, you
But
say
if-
please.
If
The B word?
Bungie,
Oh,
if Bungie
okay.
releases anything, I'm trying it.
And I'll one up you on that. If Bizarre Creations comes back from the dead and releases anything, I don't care if it's a fucking mobile game, I'm buying it.
True that. True
So,
that.
I want to end on a good note because this really excited me. I didn't see this coming. So, Turtle fucking Beach out of nowhere. Okay. So
I know a lot of people knock Turtle Beach, but they do occasionally put out something really good.
okay. Hold on to that for a second. Well, actually more than a second, but hold on to that because this is
Case in point, that little adapter right there on
Oh,
the Xbox
yes.
controller.
100%.
Beautiful. Love it.
brilliant piece. And the funny thing was, in my opinion, that Microsoft came out with that adapter for the bottom of your controller, which was really good. I kind of prefer the Xbox version of it, the Microsoft version of it, but Turtle Beach came out with theirs and it was awesome. And I know Fremo's got one. I've got two in the house somewhere. And I use them a lot. And what it allows you to do is easier by your thumbs, adjust the voice game chat, adjust the volume, and there's
Overall
usually
volume.
and there's usually a few other things. So that was Turtle Beach. And
Yeah,
again,
this one's got preset buttons.
okay,
So depending on what game you're playing, you can have some presets.
okay,
And then obviously the mute button right there.
it's well done, very, very, very well done. Now that was their claim. Well, again, this was once a great company. So they were the makers. For those that don't know, those are the makers of all the accessories you needed for your computer back in the day. And unfortunately, they became a laughingstock over the years. They were still making that terrible stock mic. Don't know why. The company was founded in 1975 as an audio company providing recording systems and sampling keyboards. In the 90s, they started on sound cards, competing with Creative Labs. But again, you couldn't compete with Creative Labs. They had a better product. Then in 2005, they decided to get into the headset space with their Ear Force headsets. Wow, what garbage. Like garbage. By 2010, they had partnered up with Major League Gaming to provide headsets for them. And then from 2010 to 2020, they just kept turning out branded headsets like Star Wars, Titanfall, Disney, and so on. They also created a microphone, which I have a picture of here in the show notes, which I have somewhere in this house, somewhere. So this microphone, I bought it because it looked like one of those classic microphones, like the one that you see here. And it was awful, like really bad. And then one day I plugged it back in because one of my kids needed a microphone. I'm like, I'm going to give him this piece of shit right here. And there was a firmware update, and the firmware update just made this microphone actually really, really good.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, Turtle Beach. All right, I see you. But then they did nothing else. And then in 2019, they purchased German company Rockcat. Now, Rockcat I can only describe as the European version of Mad Cats.
That's a fair assessment. I don't know that I would have made that, but yes, that is a fair assessment.
It was at that point that everyone just gave up on Turtle Beach. They're like, okay, this is shit. You've got there was nothing consistent in their products. The headsets didn't sound as good as they should for the price, and they all had terrible build quality. They would break within a couple of months. Rockcat made accessories that weren't great either, but they were affordable. And their recent acquisition was of PDP, which I didn't even realize they bought them. PDP is a controller company. We reviewed their Victrix Pro BFG here on the show.
Yeah. I didn't know they bought them either.
Yeah. Very niche product, though. It was very much for the person that's a gamer and also, well, I shouldn't say that. It was for a gamer that would play both a regular game, but really kind of focus on the fighter games, like a Street Fighter, Capcom, same game. They really kind of niched themselves right in there where you could swap out the paddles and shit. Okay, not too bad. It was okay. We reviewed it on the show, and the only problem was that we couldn't flip the controller set. The thumbsticks were at the same horizontal plane, which bummed me out a little bit. I wanted them on a higher plane, which is why we kind of failed it. But they have re-released it as the Stealth Pivot. So instead of pulling out the module on left or right, now you can just unlock it and swivel it. I haven't got the controller. I have no plans of getting the controller and reviewing it for stick style because I can only assume it's brutally fucking heavy. Like if you're putting both those control modules in the same side so that it turns and flips and then relocks down, that shit's going to be super heavy. Like super heavy. You don't want a controller that's super heavy. You just don't. Now, as the company turns, I don't know if they replaced the CEO or who they replaced this, because again, it's Turtle Beach. Nobody gives a shit about Turtle Beach ever. You just go,
Right.
oh yeah, Turtle Beach. Like honestly, as a parent, and I don't know how many young people are listening to our show, but as a parent, if my kids said that they wanted a headset and they kept breaking them, I'm going to get them a Rockcat or a Turtle Beach headset because they're cheap as fuck and they're not going to last too long. I'll just replace them with another one. Don't care. But headphones, their headphones are now labeled as stealth headphones, and they are well built and designed well. Really impressed with them. The top of the headband is very much like a SteelSeries headband. The microphone turns up like an InZone or some of the other brands that are out there. Like they really did well. And their stealth headsets are definitely combined or part of their new Velocity 1 line. And that's where this story gets great. Their Velocity 1 line is next level free. It really is. This line, I think, will redefine this company and bring it back from the brink. Velocity 1 Flight is their full piloting system, featuring a throttle trim, wheel, and a yoke. I have a picture of it right now. It is a full-blown system for flight. We talked about Flight Simulator 2024 being on Xbox Game Pass. This is, if you're serious about flight controllers, this is where you want to go. Like I said, it's got trim, it's got yoke, it's got everything that you want. Then you have the Velocity One flight deck, which is essentially just like for an F-15, right? It's got the joystick, all the buttons on the joystick that you need for your missiles and stuff, and then it's got the throttle next to it. Very well done. Very well done. Touch
Says
display.
It weighs 4 ounces.
What does?
The stealth pivot.
Oh, really? I doubt that. Like if I mean, don't make me go do this. Don't make me go buy this and then return it, because
4 ounces, man.
I
Quarter
can
of a
guarantee
pound.
it's got to be heavier. It's got to be heavier. It's got to be. How the hell are you going to? You're not weighing that by holding it.
Yeah, I am.
Freebo just held up his controller and weighed it. No, okay, how many ounces was it?
Well, let me unplug the cable. Just so
Oh,
I'm not
yeah,
getting any
that's
interference
weight.
there. That's 5 to 6 ounces right there with the adapter.
You are so
on
full
it.
of shit. You are so full of shit. Your eyes are brown.
Are you kidding me?
You guessing a weight.
I can guess a half a pound of hamburger in my hand all day long.
That's different. That's
It's 8
completely
ounces.
different. That's completely different.
This is a little less than a half pound of hamburger.
Oh, I can't believe you. You are so full of it.
Go, maybe go get the scales.
Oh. How do we do this? I cannot get upstairs quick enough to get my scale. I have a little meat scale. I would put the controller on. Anyway, that's something we should do.
You have a
No,
little
you know
meat
what?
scale. I have
If
a
you
large
remind
meat
me-
scale.
If you remind me, or somebody sends us an email and shit during the course of this week, I will remember, because think about it, I have so many fucking controllers in this room. I still am doing the long review on the Manta or the Mamba. I still have a standard controller. I have an elite controller over here. We can do that. We can actually throw that on the scale and see what happens. Anyway, back to the story, because
Do
this
that.
is yeah, we should.
Hey, Chris, I need to remind you to weigh all your controllers. I would personally, if I was you, I'd go ahead and put in for a week's vacation because it's just going to take a minute.
I do have a lot. That would take a minute. All right, back to the story, because I found the Logitech story so compelling. So we just covered the flight one, which is great. And then we touched upon the smaller flight one, like for the fighter jets and shit. Again, it's got a touch display. It's got a throttle. It's got a joystick. Like, they're really stepping up with their velocity line. But the one I'm most impressed with, without a shadow of a doubt, is the Velocity One Race. And that's what they're doing. Velocity One Flight, Velocity One Race. When it comes to sim racing wheels, you got two choices. On one side, you have to spend over $1,000 on your wheel and your motor. These are big time ones. You can get other wheels and stuff, and they slop in. You can get a big wooden one like the old style racing. You can get an F1 one. You can get a D-shaped one. Like, there's a lot of variables, but you're spending over $1,000 on that partial rig. You haven't even bought the extras yet, so that's a lot. Then you have to have a seat to put it in, because it's really not desk mountable. Like, it's questionable. Like, these are high end stuff.
Yeah.
On the other side, you have the $300 and under side. Top on that side would be the Logitech, which isn't bad. Logitech 9 series or 8 series, I think it is. And I was on eBay earlier, and you could get some wheels with a basic brake and gas pedal for like $50 on Amazon. I have no idea how good they are, but I can't imagine they're good at all.
Yeah.
And most will attach to your desk with the option to mount on a racing cockpit. The Velocity One Race sits in the middle. And this is what impresses the shit out of me. If you look at the picture in the show notes, there's a lot to unpack here, okay? It's $650, but you could probably find it for around $500, which is about half of what you pay for a professional sim wheel and motor. I've tried a few over the years, and none of them worked well. None of those cheap ones worked well. But this is on another level. Here's the good. Everything is heavy and built very well. The flappy paddles feel good. The steering motor will make your arms tired. Like, it's got that much force, and you can adjust it. the breakout button box, as you can see in the pictures, has many, many buttons on it, and they're mappable on a PC and on the Xbox. It's got a dedicated Xbox buttons on the lower portion of it, so you can actually hit your Xbox button. You can hit your share buttons. The LED that's on the top of this, which no other manufacturer has that I know of, is a dashboard with 3 different settings. So you can have the full race setting, which is just information. You can have the circles, or you can have the classic, like, kit car type setting on it. On the pedals, you can collapse the clutch if you don't use a clutch and you just use the flappy paddles, or if you just use an automatic transmission. You can collapse the clutch completely and then move the brake over to the left a bit. There's tension adjustable on the gas pedal. The whole thing is made of high-grade aluminum.
That's for you, Gogs.
Yes, it is. Gogs is one of our gamers. So many buttons on the wheel, though. There's buttons and dials everywhere on the wheel, so it's completely adjustable. Almost everything is mappable. You can also purchase the optional multi-shifter, which Freemo, the multi-shifter, bro. The multi-shifter is, oh shit, I hit the wrong button. What the hell did I hit? No, there we go.
Oh, I just clicked on the and more link.
Yeah.
It says it's got left turn assist.
That was great. That was really, really fucking well done there, Free. That was, I can't turn left, people. I have no idea what the problem is, but I cannot make a left fucking turn in a racing game. I don't know what the problem is.
It is the oddest thing because, you get in a real car with him and drive. There's no issues. There's no problems. It's not like he's hitting curbs or cutting short and taking off people's fenders. I mean, he can drive. Put him in a racing game. Yeah.
Watch the stick style highlights. You will see literally nailing right-hand turns. Nailing them. Left-hand turn, no idea what the problem is. No, I cannot
It's
figure it
hilarious
out.
too because everybody that races with him knows that if he gets ahead of you, it's not a big deal if there's some left-hand turns coming
Yeah,
up.
exactly. So you can purchase the optional multi-shifter. It's $129, which isn't cheap, but here's what you get with it. You can change not only the shifter stalk from long to short, but you can also change from a gated to a sequential. The gated's got like 6 gears plus reverse, and the sequential is a sequential. They give you in the package a small knob shifter for the gated, and they give you that long straight one for the sequential. Like, what the fuck?
That's pretty slick.
Now the bad. Once you
Yeah.
get it connected, plan on spending about 2 hours tweaking, updating, and learning how to use everything. Like, legit, I timed it. 2 hours. No real instructions with this thing outside of how to connect it. Some of the buttons on the button pad on the right, you can put it on the left or the right, but you should have it on the right. Some of the buttons on the right aren't fully mappable. Like, for instance, the bottom 4 toggle switches are 3-position switches, like on, off, and neutral. But you're only mappable to the up position, which is messed up. The top 2 big buttons are stop and shut. Well, they're actually shut off the wheelbase and start the wheelbase, and they're not mappable. So instead of having a car start button, you don't get that. If you hit the start button, it just turns on the system. If you hit the off button, it just turns off the system. And they're not mappable, like I said. Don't hit them by accident during the game. I did. It was fucking not good. Whole wheel died.
I want a handbrake. I want someone to put out a system with a handbrake.
Oh, there's plenty of them that have it. There's no
that
word.
I would actually buy. I don't want
There's-
to spend $5,000 on it.
No, you're not. It's there's one company, I can't remember the name of it. I'm sure somebody will email us or something. There's one company that I think it begins with an M. They have an attachment onto your shifter that puts a handbrake on it on an angle, and it's just a tall stalk that you could pull like a drifter. They do make that. There's no word on Logitech's version of it quite yet. Now, after using it and if you were wondering, here's the steering wheel. It's removable. It's got flappy paddles, which feel real good. People are bitching about how there's pull on them because they're not fully aluminum. They're fine. But there is so many buttons and switches and toggles on this thing. And it is leather wrapped and it feels good. It's got some weight to it. It is a nice little unit. So the fact that the steering wheel is removable lends me to believe that they're eventually going to come out with other wheels, which I'm excited about. After using it on the desk for a while, all you can think about with this controller or with this system, all you can think about is if you have enough room for a dedicated cockpit. Because the desk does no justice for it. I put it on the desk, and it desperately, it's good. On a desk, it's good. But you desperately just, as you're playing it, you're like, I need a racing cockpit for this thing. Like, this is full featured.
Yeah.
The cost with the multi-shifter and the cockpit.
How about the pedals?
Yeah. So the pedals, like I said,
can you elevate the back? Give it some lift in the back.
You can't out of the box. Good question.
Okay.
You can't out of the box, but the way it's angled is quite. Do I want to pick it up? Fucking heavy. Oh shit! I don't know if I can. It's big. So I have the clutch already collapsed.
That's actually bigger than I thought it was from looking at the pictures.
Oh, it's big. It's big
Yeah.
and it's heavy AF. And what it is the gas pedal has tension. You can adjust. I have it as loose as it can get, and it's actually quite comfortable. The brake is a piston. The harder you hit it, the harder you brake, which takes a little bit of getting used to. But in the controller itself, in the wheelbase, you can adjust all of that. So you can put it on a harder tension. That way, a little press will do a little. Like it's fully adjustable. It's really well.
So I could set it up to where it was like my '89 Chevy that had no rubber.
Your Suburban?
Left. No, I had a Chevy Blazer before that.
Oh,
but
okay.
and in the steering column, right? You got the two universals with the rubber gasket in it.
Yep.
And that rubber was completely gone. So you had about 6 inches of play.
Yeah,
left and right before it would actually start to turn.
Yeah.
Which I love because you could be going down the road straight, just doing like this with the wheel. and you're not moving because there's that much play in the wheel.
So ironically, you can adjust that free. You can set the dead zone. Yeah. So with the cost of the multi-shifter, the cockpit, and the controller, you're going to be at about the same price, if not more, than a high-end semi-pro wheel and alone, right? Yeah. And I feel this, there's going to be people that are nitpicking, but I don't feel it.
I will start a GoFundMe to get you the full cockpit with this and everything, because I really want to race you when you can turn left.
I can with this.
And if this helps, I'm all for it.
It does. I was on Laguna Seca the other night, and that first, when you go over the top of the hill and you hit that first left, which is really kind of tricky, I downshifted twice, boom, in the flappy paddles and turned, and I'm like, oh, I've cured this. And I was so surprised.
Oh,
you? I was so surprised I went into the sand. I took the corner so well. I'm like, oh, wow. Apparently I can take a left now. Like, it was really good.
You actually oversteered a left?
Yes. Yes, I did. So all in, right? All in with the shifter. The shifter's really kind of fucking... Oh, the shifter's good. All in, you're at roughly $1,000. I'm talking cockpit, shifter, and controller. But if you like racing games, you have to really like racing games. Like for me and Fremo and a lot of the guys we game with, this is our, I'm going offline. I have had a long day. It's been shitty. I just need to unfucking wind.
I don't want to run 24 hours of Le Mans.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. It's not even like, oh, I don't want to play with friends right now. No, it's just I need to just relax and unwind.
Yeah.
You put like 5 people in there.
And since they arrest you now and take you to jail if you're 25 over the speed limit, we can't do it on the roads anymore.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. You are so exactly right. You are so unbelievably right. But this is a good.
Back in the day, you could just get pulled over, take your ticket, pay the fine,
Yeah.
move on. Now,
I'm
no.
sorry, officer. I've had a long day. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm just heading home.
I don't know how many
I-
conversations I've had with cops on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yep.
this car's you were doing how much in this car? Yeah. Yeah. I just rebuilt this carburetor out of a couple others I got out of the junkyard, so I was stress testing it. I don't normally drive this fast, but I'm going out of town and I didn't want it to break down, so that's why I was out here on this road doing 145, over a hill.
I just put a new clutch in there. I'm kind of burning it in.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, okay, cool.
So all in with the Velocity 1 race, all in, you're going to be at the same price as buying a legitimate sim race wheel and motor.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good deal. I'm trying to find a race cockpit right now that works for me because I like the ones that fold up because I have limited space, not here in the studio, but outside of the studio. I have limited space, so I'm trying to find the right cockpit. And plus, I'm 6'3", so the cockpit has to. I don't want to be fucking like when I'm in my wife's car.
Like you're driving a Mario Kart, you're sitting there.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. But what surprised me was that
3
Logitech.
hours later, hey, honey, can you help me get out of the cockpit?
There was one I looked at that I had to actually climb in. I'm like, motherfucker, I am 52 years old. I ain't climbing into shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to Iron Man this thing. I want to walk up, stand on a little circle, and then it just kind of moves around me and puts me in position.
Oh, it's like when I've had my wife and my second oldest daughter ask me, they're like, hey, why don't you do one of those race sim things? Because I'm not sliding into the NASCAR. Like, that's not a thing for me. Slide into the window was something I did when I was 15, 16 years old because I saw it on Dukes of Hazzard. I ain't doing that shit now, okay? I ain't getting out. I'm going to feel claustrophobic. Like, I ain't doing it. But I have to say, Free, Turtle Beach is back. As stick style, and I think I'll get your blessing on it. Turtle Beach is back. Like they have
They could
like
be.
a
I mean,
handful of headsets.
Yeah,
are
between
good.
that controller and what you're telling me about this racing wheel, it sounds like they might have actually hit their stride this time around.
And again,
Instead of
it's
just continuing to pump out garbage.
right. And I got to say, to close the whole segment, I have to say, when it comes to the keyboards, mice for gamers, they've brought it down to like 2 or 3 SKUs, which is where they should be instead of 1,500 headsets. Instead of having so many headsets with all the branding, they have like 4 SKUs, which is brilliant. The Velocity stuff, forget about it. The Velocity stuff is so worth the money. People are going to sit there and say, "Well, it's too expensive." You're right, it's expensive. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. It's not expensive. But if you are a racer that is one of those people that comes home and is like, you know what, I just want to sit down, I want to run a lap on Laguna Seca, I want to run a lap on Nürburgring. I just want that experience that I can't do outside in the car. Even if you have a nice car, you might be driving home in an Audi S8 or an S6 or an S4 or a V8 something, and you can't
Or a
go on a
VW
highway.
Arteon.
Correct. And you can't do
Which gets me in trouble.
85. You can't do 85 on the way home and skid around a corner. This is what you want. And this package is where it's at. My arms were sore from driving. I raced Laguna Seca, Nürburgring GP, and I had to go to Mugello Free. I had to do Mugello full circuit because that's where we all met. I had to do Mugello, which is an easy course because it's like second gear, third gear, second gear. Like, it's a good course. And man, my arms were fucking tired. Like, tired. If I lowered down the vibration, I didn't. I left everything kind of normal. And it was, wow. It was just a great experience. It really was. And the fact that I can add a steering cockpit to it,
Yeah.
Whatever cockpit I decide. I mean, you can go like $2,000 for a cockpit, and you can go all the way down to like $60 for a cockpit. It really is what works for you. But a cockpit is what this steering wheel needs. And like I said, it is full featured. The mapping alone, like I can't wait to get into the Xbox version of it. I haven't even done the Xbox version, but I've only done PC. But the Xbox version, I cannot wait to pull out like Burnout Paradise or Need for Speed, because as you can see from the picture, there is one of those. I don't even remember what they call. What do they call them, Free? Where you pop the red hatch up and then flip the toggle underneath it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing you flip up is just a safety precaution, so you're not accidentally
Right.
hitting it early.
Right.
But yeah,
So that has a
I'm trying to think of what the actual technical term of it is. I don't know.
yes, like right there,
Safety toggle, maybe.
maybe. But the fact that I could be driving in Need for Speed, hit that up, flip the toggle, and the toggle at the end of the toggle, like they took care of the little things. At the end of the toggle, there's an LED. So when you
Yeah,
flip it up,
safety
it
toggle
acti-
switch. It's actually called a safety toggle switch. I was right.
Okay. You can map that. So why not map that for the X button or whatever the button is for nitrous? Like
Yeah.
that's, dude, you come off a on-ramp like you Need for Speed. You come off a on-ramp, you get onto the highway, it's like you get into fourth gear, you have your shifter. Think about this. You're sitting in the cockpit or maybe your desk if you're comfortable with that. You're driving, you come across, you go onto the on-ramp on the highway and Need for Speed, and then you just start clipping, and you have a shifter or you have flappy paddles, your choice. Get into that high gear, and then you just flip, and your nitrous comes on. Like, come on, man. That's what we
Yeah.
all dreamed of
Yeah.
since Project Gotham. Like, it's just next level. So I have nothing but great things to say about Turtle Beach. I wish for them the best success they could possibly get. I think they're on the path right now to be a legitimate argument for like Corsair, for Logitech. I think they're in competition. They've brought it back. All right, let's get into the last segment for what it's worth. Well, Free, it's time for you to fall asleep. It's Apple had a surprise. For those that are watching the video, he's actually falling asleep. Apple had a small surprise announcement this week, which isn't like them. Like they usually don't do surprise announcements, but they had a small surprise announcement. For us Apple fans, it was nice to see that they finally upgraded, and you'll appreciate this. I don't give a fuck what you say. Apple finally has standardized 16 gigs of RAM for all their product lines. You cannot
Really?
get below, you cannot get below 16 gigs, which is brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So, as I've talked about on the show,
Welcome to the 2020s, Apple.
It's such a shame you can't see what finger I'm holding
What?
up.
I'm being supportive. I'm welcoming them.
of course you are, as you're watching your phone. So every once in a while, Apple releases a black device. We used to call it the Blackbooks. It was back in the Pismo era, but there's always a black version of something that comes out that Steve used to just, I don't know if it was Steve or Johnny Ive or Wozniak. I don't know who it was, but somebody would always be like, hey, can we do a black version of that? Like a dark version? And all of us geeks would be like, yep, need that. I got them every time they came out. I don't know if I'm going to get this one, but every time they came out, I got
Yeah, you
one.
will. Yeah, you will.
Mm,
Because once you go black, you never go back. What?
I'm just, you know what? Anyway, every once in a while, Apple releases the black device. Fans call it the Blackbook. And last year, was it last year? I think it was last year. They did one, but it was actually like really dark blue. And it just absorbed every fingerprint you can get at it. I don't know what they used for paint, but man, every time you touched it, it left a fingerprint. And I mean like like you're gonna get arrested fingerprint. It wasn't just a smudge, like it was like a fingerprint. So it was
and
tough.
it probably had a skin underneath that's digitizing those prints and storing it somewhere.
You're a sad little man. That's a hater. That's what you are.
You say that, but one day when the Apple police show up, they're gonna have nothing on me. We're like, who are you? We don't even have. Do you exist?
And they're gonna show up at my house and be like, Phoenix, we have every record, everything you've ever done. Would you like to see a Google search? No, I wouldn't. So
We can tell you how many ear hairs you have on your left and your right ear from your phone screen.
that would not surprise me. Last year they did one, but it was actually like really dark blue. They also released an upgrade to their high-end chips. So having a Blackbook is like huge, huge. And that's just the icing on the cake, because they also released an upgrade to their high-end chips. So now they have an M4 Pro and an M4 Max with 25% increase over the top of the line M3 chips. Now, I see you grinning, so just follow me on this for a second. Just follow me on a second, right?
Okay, Pied Piper, play your tune.
I hate you so much. The other... You know what? I'm just going to go into the next piece.
No, I want to hear about this.
I don't care. The Mac Mini.
want-
We'll get into. I'll get into it in a second. The other big Apple news was the redesigned Mac Mini. The Mini has always been a great entry-level Mac product. It was bring your own keyboard, mouse, and monitor. It was just a standalone, but it was tiny. It was like 8 inches by 8 inches, I think. But now it has the same power as a desktop, but they've been doing the small form factor for several years. And now that they're making the chips in-house, they can make the whole thing a lot smaller. This Mac Mini is 5 inches by 5 inches free. 5 by 5. That's fucking tiny. And it starts at $600. Starts at $600.
Yeah,
You
maybe
get-
you have to put parts in it. What?
This is amazing.
Don't look over here.
Oh my God, he's so wrong. He can't even hit the right soundboard button.
It's a fact.
I love it.
You get 2 front USB-C headphone jacks. On the back, you get 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports, an HDMI capable of 4K, and gigabit Ethernet, which can be upgradable to a 10 gigabit Ethernet. It can handle a max of 3 monitors, depending on the configuration. The base model has 10-core CPU and a 10-core GPU. With the 16 gigabytes of RAM as the basis. Now, I want you to remember that Intel had 16 cores, and NVIDIA was rocking, again, they use CUDA cores, but they're rocking roughly about 16 cores as well. All in on the Mac Mini, and you're looking at 14-core CPU and a 20-core GPU, 64 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte SSD that can go all the way up to 8 terabytes, with a 10 gigabit Ethernet for $2,900. So anywhere between $600 and $2,900, you can get a pretty badass computer.
And the 600 comes with what?
16 gigs of RAM, 10-core CPU, 10-core GPU.
And have they fixed the overheating problem that the Mac Minis have always had?
I've personally never experienced that, but yes, they did a cooling upgrade.
So they actually have a fan in them now.
Nope.
You might want to reread your notes.
You don't need it.
There's an onboard fan.
Like, it barely runs free. It
Okay.
barely runs.
Okay.
It doesn't really run. It doesn't. I've never heard my Mac Mini. I have an M1 Mac Mini upstairs for editing, and I've never heard the fan turn on, ever.
Are you wearing
No, I am not. I
hands and
knew you
listening
were
to
gonna ask that.
music while you're doing it?
No, I have not. Just sitting
So
at the desk.
you edit with just your ears.
I edit with just my ears and the speaker that's built into the Mac Mini.
Well, that explains some things.
It's such a shame you can't see what finger I'm holding up.
You wear something else, I'll tell you.
I'm on it today, man.
I know.
I don't know why, but I am.
So it's a full feature. There's 2 USB ports on the front. There's 4 USB Thunderbolts on the back. Gigabit Ethernet. You can upgrade to 10 gigabit Ethernet.
Thunderbolt, not lightning?
Correct. Lightning's done. They're doing away with Lightning. They're going to USB-C on everything, which I love and every other Apple person loves.
Well, I just figured they might still have like one on there for legacy
No. Nope.
connection, but
Nope. Give them props, Free. They completely abandoned Lightning at this point, which is a smart idea. We've said that for
because now
years.
everybody has to buy all new Apple stuff again.
Fuck off. Yes, that is true.
That explains their $5 billion a month profit.
Whatever. All right, let's move on because I'm tired of getting ripped apart. I want you to meet something, Free.
Okay.
I want you to meet the Beth deck.
Hi, Beth Deck.
It's a 3D printed gaming handheld.
It's pretty slick, man.
Yeah, I know. It can be built using about 15 minutes using internals from a Framework laptop. Framework is one of those companies we love here at BGFG.
Yeah. They're doing it right.
Yep. Using a 13-inch Framework main board, you can head to the link in the show notes with all the parts that you would need, including screws and standoffs and things like that. And this thing does it. It's a great project, but even the inventor, Beth, says that the revision 2 will be much better. So what it is you basically take the motherboard and I think battery, the main board and the battery from a Framework 13-inch laptop. You get a DIY, which costs you $200 less than having it pre-built. And you put it in this 3D frame, and you have a handheld. Now, Beth already admits that the revision 2 will be better because right now it's still just a laptop. So there's no GUI that's like geared toward games.
Right.
But in revision 2, they're going to do that. This is a contender. This is 100% a contender. And kudos for Framework, because the more you sell these, the more people can make these. So for Framework, I wouldn't even be like Apple or Microsoft be like, oh, it's infringing on our patent. Framework's going to be like, fuck all, buy more.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Framework doesn't give a shit. It's nice to see technology being inventive and fun again, because that's what we cut our teeth on. We cut our teeth on Radio Shack little like inventor type shit that we would build a radio or build a radio receiver or build a CB or something like that from a Radio Shack product. This is nice to see that you can do that again. We talked about Framework before being on the cutting edge of being able to like DIY. Like you can go build a laptop for a change. The fact that they're not just allowing this, but the fact that somebody came out with a 3D.
They're promoting this.
Are they on their site? I didn't even check. Are they really? You're looking it up. Okay.
Well, just based on something I read there, but I'm gonna pull up Framework's site real quick and check on this.
So for those who don't know on the show, while Freeman looks this up, it's Framework is a company that's designed to make you or give you the ability to build your own laptop. So you can always build a computer. It is usually really intimidating to people. But what Framework did was they gave you the option to do a DIY on a laptop. And what that gets you is like, even if you pre-built it, even if you spent the extra $200 to have them put it together, you picked all the parts. And when you open up the back with like, was it 8, 9, 10 screws, I think. When you open up the back, everything's got a QR code. So when you hit the QR code, it brings you right to their site. And if you're looking at RAM, if you QR code the RAM, you can go from 8 gigabytes of RAM to whatever you want. They will send you the module that fits with your device, which is awesome. That takes away, like, you could be sitting there and, a year after you purchase the device, you can scan the RAM and be like, yeah, 8 gigs aren't doing it anymore. I need to like get 32. And just scan the QR code and pick 32, and that module will come and you can upgrade your shit. The same thing goes with the framework modules. The modules are plug and play. It could be anything from a Ethernet port to an SD card reader to extended drive space. Like it's unlimited to what they do. The fact that you could buy a DIY, not pre-built, 13-inch laptop from them, and then take that, if you have a 3D printer or know somebody has a 3D printer, or order a 3D printed version of this gaming case, this handheld gaming case, you could literally put the pieces that you got from Framework in there and run and again, this is revision 1, so this is a proof concept, really. And you can run anything you want off of it. Now, I can only assume that the revision 2 will be better. The revision 2 will have a graphical user interface, a GUI, that is more reminiscent of a handheld gaming device and make it easier to maneuver. But 100% expect PlayStation, Xbox.
Yeah, they actually
Steam.
ran a community. They ran a contest with their Framework community, encouraging people to basically do alternative builds with their components.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So definitely go check it out. If you're into the gaming space, like the handheld gaming space, and you want something that you can do DIY, go do this. It's definitely BGFG recommended. It's something to do. Now, it can cost you anywhere from $120 to $650, depending on the situation and everything. If you want to get early access, do it now. If not, wait till revision 2. You'll be much happier. Moving on to our last story of the day. And this one really touches home, Free. It really does. Oh, and I got to pee, so I got to hurry up. Look at what Rivian did. Rivian is an electric car company that builds like Jeeps and pickups and stuff. We've talked about it on the show before. They're a good company. I like them actually more than I like Tesla, though Tesla is very innovative. Using their extensive software packages, you can add a costume, not custom, costume to your vehicle. There's 3 of them right now. Haunted is good for trunk or treat. So the haunted one will change the colors in the vehicle when it's parked. It will like randomly flicker lights in the vehicle as if it's haunted. But the trunk space in the front of the vehicle is where you put all the candy. I have a picture in the show notes, or a picture in the live show. You can actually have that, like when somebody comes up at motion sensors and does a ghost sound or whatever the hell it is. It's great. But the trunk or treat features 8 different sound effects and 3 different color schemes. Very cool. It all uses external lighting, using the color you chose while you're parked. But the next one and the one after that is where it's at. The next one will be called Time Machine, based on Back to the Future. It has an analog-looking gauges with 2-digit LED for speed, like the 88 miles per hour thing. And the rear seat, the screen on the rear seat, like in between the rear seats, actually does a flux capacitor, which is so fucking cool. And of course, the center console has all the dates, like the 3 different dates for the back, forth, and current. But the best one by far, Free, the best one by far is the kit one. KITT. Oh, it is exactly what you expect from the Dash. Exactly. There's in the center,
and I like the on the newer model vehicles, you actually get the pulsing red light on the front.
Yes. The speech modulator is in the center console with all the other connections. That dash that has the crazy number running, like horizontal thing that is, and of course, like you said, the front red light bar. All downloadable if you have a Rivian vehicle. They're perfect in every way. I cannot say anything bad about them. I've watched the videos. Click on the link in the show notes. You'll see the videos of these. They're incredibly good. Like, incredibly good.
I'm digging it. Makes me want to almost buy a Rivian.
I like Rivians. The only thing I have a problem
I
with
think
the
they're
Rivian,
good-looking vehicles.
right? But when they go down the street, there's something about the headlights I don't like. Like, it's something weird. I don't know.
Makes you
Maybe
want to turn it off because it's the circle with the line, like an
Yeah,
off-on button.
yeah.
It's like, I just want to press it.
Yeah, true. All right, that's it for this week. You got anything else?
No.
All right,
I'm
that's
good.
it for this week. 10's down, show's over.
Whoop, whoop.
So you can find more of this garbage at bgfgonline.com. You can also send us an email with your questions or suggestions at bgfgshow@gmail.com. Find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Overcast, Podcast, Castro, Castbox, Podchaser, and YouTube. Thank you for listening.